DFS Bros. I want to apologize for being MIA for a little bit. We both got caught up with work and life. His wife is pregnant. I'm a full-time student, and I'm also working full-time over the summer during COVID. So I do want to apologize for that. But today we're going to get into our sleepers. And before we get into our sleepers, I'd just like to throw out, you guys should go check out our friends in the HeatCheck podcast. If you enjoy the NBA and basketball in general, as you can see, I'm wearing my 76ers hat. I'm ready for the playoffs and ready to be disappointed by them. So with that said, Kirk, who do you have to get to the NBA Finals and win?
Usually the best teams always end up winning in series, so probably going to be the Lakers versus the Bucks. I do have the Bucks pulling it out though. On the level.
Yeah, I have the Clippers and the Bucks. I think it's going to go to Game 6, and the Clippers are going to win. That's just my opinion. But now on to what we know best, which is football. We're going to get into our sleepers today. First, we're going to talk about our quarterbacks, and Kirk will go first.
All right, so my sleepers, it's a little bit unique. Doing a tier-based system this year. So what that basically is, it has all the quarterbacks ranked out. Typically what I do is I don't want to grab the first QB in the top tier. I kind of want to hit on the same value right before it drops to another tier. In most drafts, if they fall to the third, because of their consistency and their potential to drop a 30, 40-point game, just kind of win you the week, I got them as my personal third-round pick in most leagues if they fall. If they don't, I typically have been holding on, waiting for the next tier quarterback, which is typically like Prescott, Murray, Russell Wilson, Watson. Not that big on Watson, although I do believe he's going to have to be used more, just with like his legs, mobility, rushing touchdowns. He's going to have to put more of it on himself, but he is the lower end QB of that tier to me. I do like Murray a lot and Prescott. And then after that, the next tier would be the Breeze, Ryan, Allen, Wentz, Rodgers. They're currently going in about the 9th round. If you see them fall to the 10th or 11th, feel free to scoop them up. If not, then that's when everybody's already picked their QBs, and you can pretty much wait towards the very end, grab your Staffords, grab your Cam Newtons. This year, I think I'm going to have a lot of Stafford. People just seem to be really sleeping on him. I was big on Cam Newton signing with the Patriots. But I just think that every league's going to have that Cam Newton lover who's just going to pull the trigger on him early. Same thing with Tom Brady. I doubt I end up having any Tom Brady just because there's going to be that guy who picks him up in the 6th or 7th.
Yeah.
But yeah, go with a tier-based system this year is what I'm.
Yeah. Speaking on Tom Brady, we had 2 of our drafts this past weekend. Tom Brady went in the 7th in one of them, in the 6th in the other. And in both drafts, I believe Matt Stafford fell all the way to one of the very last rounds. I know in our draft that we did Friday, he fell to almost the 13th or 14th round. And at that point, it's almost stupid to not grab him there.
Now, I do like Daniel Jones a lot, but just given that his starting schedule is so rough, maybe if you pick up a Jimmy G with him, it would work out. Jimmy G starts off the season great.
Right.
Daniel Jones is going to have a great back half of the year. So kind of having both of them, using your possible 12th and 13th pick on them or starting QB every week is actually a good ideal start.
All right. So my super quarterback, I'm going to go with Teddy Bridgewater. He's a guy you can get in the last rounds of your draft. Last round, get your quarterback, defense kicker with your last 3 picks. I enjoy Teddy Bridgewater because he's going to be in a fast-paced offense with 2 guys who were just coaching in college. His offensive coordinator was with him in New Orleans with the Saints in 2018. And then last year, his offensive coordinator led Joe Burrow to the national championship. He's in the perfect offense for him to succeed. He has DJ Moore with the slant routes. He has Christian McCaffrey coming out of the backfield, and either one of those guys can take a slant or a screen to the house. You get 4 points for the touchdown plus yards. I think he's he's going to have a career year, in my opinion, with this offense. So with that being said, we're going to go over to running backs. And Kirk, go ahead and tell me your sleeper running back.
All right, so my sleeper running back this year is Raheem Mostert. Just signed an extension with the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers ran the ball with the running back more than any team in the league. Yes, Baltimore ran the ball more than anyone because of the uniqueness of Lamar Jackson and the weapon that he is. As far as pure running, there isn't a team that wants to run the ball more than San Francisco. They did lose Matt Breida. That was 123 carries. That's going to be spread around. I'm not a big believer in Jared McKinnon. I believe that's pretty much going to be Coleman and Mostert. You saw last year that in games needed, they just pounded the rock. Jimmy G threw the ball less than 10 times against the Packers in a pivotal game. It's the playoffs. Winner going to Super Bowl. But currently, he's being drafted in the 6th or 7th round. Coleman's going in the 10th or 11th. I think you should go ahead and pull the trigger maybe a round earlier. And gotcha. I'm a big believer in the playoff matchups. I typically look forward to seeing what teams have great matchups week 14, 15, 16, the fancy playoffs, the ones that will win you the week. He plays the Redskins, which were the third worst last year against the run. Then week 15, he plays the Cowboys. If y'all remember, any Cowboys fans, Aaron Jones, 4 touchdowns. It could end up being a Mostert day. And then he plays the Cardinals in the last week, which I could see them really wanting to control the tempo of that game. The Cardinals were one of the bottom defenses as well, coming in like 12th against the run. So I just see a big, big year for Mostert. The team itself was second in rushing attempts, second in total rushing yards, and first in touchdowns.
Yeah, I like Raheem Mostert. I'm just a little bit afraid of the San Francisco backfield. I think if it's like it is last year, Raheem will be a good option, as well as Tevin Coleman, especially with Matt Breida out of there now. Jeff Wilson and Jerick McKinnon, they're both there. And they will utilize all 4 running backs wherever they are, wherever they're the best utilize that. So I like Raheem Mostert. I like where he's going in drafts. It's just someone that I personally wouldn't touch. For me, Damian Harris is my sleeper running back. I got a notification today that he's taking all the first team reps for the Patriots in training camp right now. Sonny Michel's on the pup. They signed Lamar Miller, already put him on the injured list. James White is not the prototypical running back. He's more of a pass catcher. Rex Burkhead is there, but I think Damian Harris is going to secure that job, at least until Sonny Michel comes back. And even after, he's another one of those Alabama running backs that just pounds the ball. He's going to get a lot of goal line work, a lot of opportunity for touchdowns, and he's practically free in drafts. Our Friday draft, he wasn't even drafted. I actually was talking to Kirk before we were recording this, telling him how much I love Damian. And then he goes on, sees he wasn't even drafted by anyone, and picks him up and trades him to me. And I don't know. That was my mistake personally. I thought he had been drafted in our league. Yesterday he went in the 14th, 15th round in our other draft. He's just a guy you can get late that has a lot of value, especially in the first few weeks until Sonny Michel comes back. Week 1, they play Miami at home. And it should be a good game for Damian Harris. For wide receivers, I'm going to start off on that. My sleeper wide receiver is Deshaun Jackson. As you guys know, I'm an Eagles fan. There's no secret to that. But he is our most experienced starting wide receiver. Alshon Jeffrey is on the pup. He won't play until week 6. Greg Ward, undrafted free agent, 3rd or 4th year. Jalen Reagor, first-round rookie. Marquise Goodwin opted out of the season for COVID-19 fears as he wants to take care of his wife and newly born child. So with that, Deshaun Jackson is the perfect target for the Philadelphia Eagles. Week 1, they'll play the Washington Redskins. Last year, week 1, he had 2 touchdowns and 150 yards against them. And that was with Alshon also catching 2 touchdowns and also almost getting 100 yards. So without him, I think he's going to have a fantastic week 1. You can get him in the 13th round. I know a lot of guys are going after Jalen Reagor right now, but I want that experience, especially since he's going around later than Jalen Reagor. Kirk, who is your sleeper wide receiver?
So this year is Marquise Brown, Hollywood. Ravens coach admitted Marquise was rarely at 100% all last year. The offensive coordinator believes Brown had a great offseason physically and is just ready to come out the gate swinging. Lamar led the league in passing touchdowns last year with 36, despite being low NFL in passing touchdowns with 36. Despite only having 468 dropbacks. Most teams are in the 500 as far as dropbacks.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe he won't have to use his legs as much as far as Lamar, but will utilize Brown in the passing game a lot more. Before his injury, in the first 4 games, he had 5 targets, 13, 9, 7. With a low snap percentage. That was with him the first game only being on the field a third of the time, second game only half the time. Now he's an every down starter. Last we saw him was in the playoffs versus Tennessee, and he had 11 targets, 7 catches, 126 yards. So he isn't that explosive elite option for Lamar.
Yeah, I agree. I like Hollywood a lot. I snagged him in the 6th round. In one of our drafts yesterday, 2 rounds above his usual ADP for ESPN, but I decided to take him that high because I needed a wide receiver. He's the only one I really liked in that area. For tight ends, I'm gonna let Kirk go first because I have a few guys I'd like to just talk about. Not really one specific guy. It's just whoever's there at my third to last pick. If one of the big guys don't drop to me. So Kirk, who's your sleeper tight end?
All right, so tight end this year, huge on Hayden Hurst, former first-round pick, extremely fast, athletic, actually a better athlete than Austin Hooper. Very talented. Hurst was 6th in routes run, yards per route run last year, 7th in yards per target, 14th in yards per receptions with over 11 yards per reception. The Ravens were 32nd in pass attempts, so they were the least amount in the whole NFL. And the Falcons were 1st. So he's going from worst to first, going to see way more opportunities now that he doesn't have Mark Andrews in front of him, now that Austin Hooper is gone, now that Sanu's gone from Atlanta. I know he left halfway through the season. There's no Devontae Freeman. There is Gurley there. He is a pass catcher, but as you saw last year, just wasn't really involved. So it is going to be the Julio show, Ridley, but I do see Hayden Hurst stepping in as a better Austin Hooper. And just to go over what Hooper did last year in that offense, he was 6th in yards, 6th in targets, 5th in receptions, 3rd in fantasy points per game, and 3rd in red zone targets. Now you're giving me a better option, and you're going to be able to pick him up as like tight end 13. He's going in the bottom half of drafts. You can usually get him with your 10th or 11th pick. Pretty easy. Just your 1st or 2nd pick after 100. Just go ahead and lock up your tight end, your every week starter.
For me, there's a few guys I like. I also like Hayden Hurst. He is one of the guys I was going to mention. If one of the big, I'd say top 6, Kittle, Kelsey, Ertz, Waller, Andrews, even Cook. If one of those 6 guys doesn't fall down to me, I'm looking for my 4th to last or 3rd to last pick. Jimmy Smith is a good one. There's only one other pass catcher on the Tennessee Titans, and that is A.J. Brown. Chris Herndon is a good one. He's doing a lot of work. And the Jets right now, there's only one other experienced pass catcher with Jamison Crowder. Lev Bell too, but still, they need someone in the red zone that's not coming out of the backfield. Hayden Hurst is a guy I like a lot, as well as Kirk. Kirk is the one that turned me on to Hayden Hurst. It actually brought me down a lot on Ridley. And last, This is a guy no one is talking about and no one is drafting. Jack Doyle is free. He's a good tight end. Eric Ebron's gone. They brought in Trey Burton, who is not that great to take over a spot, but he's a great for a second tight end if you need a block or need a free guy in the red zone.
We haven't even seen Trey Burton in how long?
Since 2017.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't seen a healthy Trey Burton. But Jack Doyle, he's practically free in drafts. Phillip Rivers, he loves a tight end. Look at Antonio Gates' his entire career. His, Hunter Henry the last few years. T.Y. Hilton's a little bit banged up. Michael Pittman Jr. is a rookie. They have two good running backs, Marlon Mack and Jonathan Taylor. It's just in the red zone, they're going to need a guy to throw to, especially with T.Y. Hilton kind of being a little bit short. Michael Pittman, a rookie. He needs an experienced guy to catch the touchdowns. I think that'll be Jack Doyle. I think he will be steal in drafts. He could possibly get up to that top 13, top 12 spot. But he's a guy that I've been liking a lot lately only because he's free. No one's talking about him. He has a lot of opportunity for upside, especially with who Phil Rivers is. Kirk, is there anybody else from any of the four positions we talked about that you like as far as any potential sleepers?
No, the only other thing I would say if you're in a keeper league, look at grabbing Jonathan Taylor. I'm a firm believer that after this year, Marlon Mack's going to be gone contract. Yeah. So it's going to be his team, and I could see them easily having him as a number one pick next year, possible top 5 in the first round.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of young running backs right now in the NFL that are going to be rookies this year that are going to take over for their teams for the next few years that they're going to be very valuable for fantasy. Cam Akers is one, Jonathan Taylor, Swift, like all the guys that went in the second and third round. Yeah, Clyde. I'm not saying Clyde's a sleeper because he's already going in the first round, so he's not really a sleeper.
I'm seeing him already go as high as like 5.
Yeah, I took him at 3 yesterday in our keeper draft. But that's already he's a keeper. We already had a bunch of guys off the board, but I took him above Alvin Kamara, if that means anything. So those are sleepers for the 2020 NFL season, and we will be back soon with busts and draft tips. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We appreciate you guys. Have a good one.